Welcome back to Say Yes to Chocolate. And if the last episode, episode number 18, Why Am I Tired All the Time, resonated with you, then today's episode is going to feel a little bit more personal. Because today we're talking about something we hear all the time.
That's right. It's I'm doing all the right things. I'm trying real hard. I'm following everybody's recommendations. So why do I still feel so tired, so fatigued? I just don't have any oomph.
And so when women say that, there's always something else that's frustrating or even some guilt underneath it. Some shame and blame with that too, right?
Yeah, there can definitely be some guilt that kind of underlies that. But it's mainly because when effort doesn't lead to results, the brain almost always turns inward and asks, what am I doing wrong? Instead of looking for a right path, we're always looking for the area that isn't working.
Or even worse, they're asking themselves, what is wrong with me?
Oh, right. And let's get something clear right from the start before we get into what we're going to be talking about today. If you're doing all the right things and just still feeling tired, or quite honestly, even feeling more fatigued and more tired, almost like you're going in reverse, it's not a willpower problem. It's not being anything that's wrong with you.
So let's talk about what those right things we usually hear, especially from women, are. You know, like I'm exercising, I'm following the strict diet, I'm eating carefully, I'm trying to get all my sleep.
And often adding more structure, more rules, more discipline when they already don't feel good. It's a recipe for disaster.
Which makes sense, really, when you think about it, right? Like more rules, more structure, when you're already not feeling well, just makes it that much harder.
That's what we've always been taught, right? For decades, the message has always been try harder, be more consistent, be more perfect, push through. This too shall pass. It's working for everybody else. It'll eventually work for you. It's just a cookie cutter recipe. And unfortunately, it doesn't work for the vast majority of us, which is why most people suffer with this.
But for a long time, it does work, like in our early 20s and 30s.
Oh, for sure. Yes. And that's why we continue to do the same course of action. But here's the shift that almost nobody explains. At a certain point in your life, at a certain point in the aging process, the body stops responding well to pressure and starts responding better to support and grace.
Ooh, and that's a really good distinction.
Right. And it's so foreign to us because we are not conditioned to living a supportive lifestyle. We're conditioned to the hustle.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially in the American culture.
And I think one of the biggest misunderstandings, especially in the American culture, is that wellness is thinking effort equals effectiveness. And it simply doesn't.
So just because something takes a lot of effort doesn't actually mean it could be helping.
Exactly, Sarah. And when the body is under recovered, meaning it hasn't had enough support to repair and recover itself, even good habits can feel like stressors inside the body and especially at a cellular level.
Which does seem counterintuitive.
It does, very much. And it is. But imagine trying to renovate a house while the foundation is shaky or crumbling. No matter how much effort you put into the rebuilding of that house, it's never going to be sound. Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense.
So right. when we envision it like that, it's easy to understand. When we try to envision it just in our own body, it's a frustration.
So when women are adding more workouts, more intensity, more routines, more structure, things that we probably can't maintain, and then
more supplements.
And we still end up more exhausted.
Yeah. And you start to turn blame inwards, which is counterproductive as well. But let's entertain the real reframe that I want everybody to start envisioning is that you've just got the sequence wrong. Not the ingredients, but the sequence is wrong. Does that make sense?
So the sequence is what's wrong, but It's not the effort.
It's not the effort. It's the sequence is out of order. It's exactly right.
So this part can feel really unsettling because like what we've always done in those habits and patterns are no longer working.
Right. But I want to say this very clearly. When old strategies stop working, it doesn't mean that you're weak or there's something wrong with you or that you're not fixable or that you're past the point of no return. It means your body has just changed and it just needs a new approach. It just needs a new strategy. And that's doable.
And that's very normal.
And very normal. Hormones change, muscle mass is changing, bone density is decreasing, we're not as physically active as we were, we have sleep challenges, recovery capacity changes, our cells don't regenerate as quickly and as efficiently as they used to, nervous system sensitivities have changed. So yes, we're in an entirely different season the older we get. Doesn't mean we're not fixable. We need a new strategy.
But no one hands us a new rule book or handbook to say, this is the next steps on how we're going to handle this next stage.
Right. And I think for a long time, people just were like, it's just aging. It's just what it is now. You just have to accept it as inevitable. And you just simply don't.
And that is just such a compassionate way to not only just explain it, but also to consider and to feel that in yourself.
Absolutely. Give yourself a little bit of grace and know that you're not alone. This is universal. An aging body is universal. It's one of the only guarantees in life, right?
Right. So let's talk about real life examples of how we are pushing through.
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone can relate to when we see people who are exercising more, starting something new at the gym, starting to reduce caloric intake, or changing their diet altogether. We see people who are adding busyness into their lives and they're busier than ever, trying to maintain a level of community or a level of interconnectedness, but ultimately they're more depleted than ever.
And this just feels like a really good point to start talking about how we can actually change how we approach this.
How we're going to flip the script, essentially.
Yes.
And it's not by adding more. We talked a little bit about that in last week's episode, but we're going to start by asking, what systems in my body need support first? And that is, like we talked about last week, getting real with yourself and really doing an inventory, because energy is not a symptom, it's a signal that something is wrong. It's a red flag that our body's not functioning efficiently. And so where we start with this is, we're not going to add exercise until we really get real with ourselves on what needs to be strengthened, what needs to be focused on. Do we need to work on balance? Do we need to be working on core strength? Do we have back and joint pain that needs to be addressed? We're not going to work on trying to lose weight or cutting calories when what we really need is to focus on nourishing the body first. It's not about food for weight loss or aesthetics or to reach a certain goal. It's about food as fuel and nourishment. So that's where we really have to start. We just have to take a step back and really figure out what these symptoms, what we're missing in our life. And that might start with just some sleep hygiene. It might start with looking at supporting hydration in the body. It might look at reducing caffeine intake. It's different for everyone.
Sure. And this is when we would start talking about those 4 switches.
Yes. The 4 switches to age strong. And I love the way you can visualize what this is, because the 4 switches that every single person, but women in particular, need to stay active, stay independent, and be confident within their own body really can be encompassed in switch number 1, which is focusing on strength. Switch number 2, which is focusing or turning on stability, which is what we talked about with balance. Switch number 3, which is turning on our energy compartments in the body. Or switch number 4, which is allowing the body to recover, turning on the recovery switch so the body can repair and rebuild before you try to add any more. And everybody has a different switch that needs to be turned on first. So the sequence for you individually is really important.
Yeah. So we're not talking about piling on more and more habits.
No.
We're talking about what sequence do I need to be doing things in.
Correct.
And I just love, especially when we talk about sequences and switches, right? Because
yeah,
it matters. It matters when you turn on which switch.
Absolutely.
And so that helps too in our bodies the same way.
Your results are going to be completely dependent on the sequence that you decide to focus on. But it all starts, again, not with doing more. It starts with getting a real conversation with yourself on what you need. And that's hard for women.
Oh, 100%. And it's also hard to sometimes start with what feels too easy.
Yes. Right. We all want that magic bullet. So, but I can tell you that 9 times out of 10, the most results come from the easiest thing to overlook.
I personally think this is such a relief to hear. It was a relief for me to hear it, of let's just take a step back and figure out what is the right sequence.
And I think because it gives women permission to stop fighting their bodies, to stop wondering what's wrong with them, and also to stop looking for that magic bullet that's probably never going to work. And that just leads to giving up and becoming frustrated.
Yeah. And that just feels very different emotionally.
Yes. Very different emotionally.
That just feels different within your system too. Yeah.
When you start to think about making improvements in your life in the realm of supporting yourself versus having to fix yourself, it's an entirely different conversation.
Yeah. You get to get rid of that frustration and you get to bring clarity into the picture.
And hope and opportunity.
Yeah.
So, and hope is a contagious thing, like one of our members once said.
Yes, it is. Hope is very contagious.
Yes.
So if you've been listening and thinking, I've been trying so hard, and now you just understand why, it's been so exhausting. We want you to know that being aware is a powerful first.
And nothing about this requires you to quit everything that you're doing. If something is working for you, continue to do it by all means. But it just invites you to reconsider the order. So then everything that you are doing already or that is working and that you enjoy doing will only become that much more effective, and it'll work that much better for you.
And it also gives you permission to stop doing the things that maybe aren't working as well.
Or you're not loving and they're not working for you, but everyone else is doing it. Yeah. But everyone else is doing it, right? So you got to be doing it too.
So In the next episode, next week, we're going to be talking about why we feel off, even when our labs and everything on paper look normal and looks fine.
Yeah, why do we feel not ourselves? We're tired, we're sluggish, we just don't recognize the person. Yeah, brain fog. Don't recognize the person in the mirror. But we go to the doctor. We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
And we're told you're healthy as a horse. There's nothing wrong with you. Or they're like minor things or something totally unrelated is wrong, but it's not going to help with how you're feeling. So we're going to dive into that.
So if you made it all the way to the end, we would love, especially on YouTube, if for you to go ahead and comment with a chocolate bar emoji, since this is Say Yes to Chocolate. And go ahead and make sure to subscribe and like this episode so you don't miss out on any of the future ones.
Yeah. And no matter what, always say yes to chocolate.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Say Yes to Chocolate.
If today's episode gave you a win, something to think about, or even just a smile, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, rate, and share it with a friend.
Want more? Join our email newsletter so you don't miss a beat, and come find us on all the social channels at Say Yes to Chocolate Podcast for all the quick hints and tips.
And don't forget, you can always send us your question or episode ideas. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, keep it simple, stay